Hello students, teachers, parents, history nerds. Hello everybody and welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We continue with our Modern World History series by looking at Axis Powers Advance. Don't forget that there's a link for a fill-in-the-blank worksheet in the description. Feel free to use it. I just ask that you like and subscribe. I apologize for any mispronunciations ahead of time. I do my best. Okay, let's go. In September 1939, Nazi forces launched a blitzkrieg against Poland. First, the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, bombed. Then, tanks and troops pushed their way in. At the same time, Stalin invaded from the east, grabbing land. It was this invasion of Poland that finally convinced Britain and France that Hitler could not be appeased. War was declared. Nonetheless, within a month, Poland ceased to exist. Then, in early 1940, Hitler conquered Norway, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Belgium. By May, German forces had bypassed France's Maginot Line. British forces that had been sent to help the French were trapped. In a desperate scheme, the British, along with scores of civilians with their civilian boats, rescued their troops from Dunkirk. However, in June, the French were forced to surrender. Germany occupied northern France and set up a puppet state, the Vichy government, in the south. The British, led by Winston Churchill, remained defiant against Hitler. In response, Hitler launched Operation Sea Lion, bombing raids over British cities that lasted from September 1940 until June 1941. Despite this blitz, Hitler was not able to take Britain. Meanwhile, Hitler sent one of his best commanders, General Erwin Rommel, to North Africa. Rommel had a string of successes there. In the Balkans, German and Italian forces added Greece and Yugoslavia to the growing Axis territory. At the same time, the Japanese were occupying lands in Asia and the Pacific. In June 1941, Hitler nullified the Nazi-Soviet pact by invading the Soviet Union. This was Operation Barbarossa. Stalin was unprepared, and the Soviet army suffered great losses. The Germans advanced toward Moscow and Leningrad. During a lengthy siege of Leningrad, more than 1 million Russians died. The severe Russian winter finally slowed the German army. As they marched across Europe, the Nazis sent millions to concentration camps to work as slave laborers. Even worse, Hitler established death camps to kill those he judged racially inferior. Among many others, some 6 million Jews were killed in what became known as the Holocaust. The United States declared neutrality at the beginning of the war, yet many Americans sympathized with those who fought the Axis powers. Congress passed the Lend-Lease Act of 1941, allowing the United States to sell or lend war goods to foes of the Axis. Franklin Roosevelt and Winston Churchill also agreed on the Atlantic Charter, which set goals for the defeat of Nazi Germany and for the post-war world. On December 7, 1941, under the direction of General Hideki Tojo, the Japanese bombed the U.S. fleet at Pearl Harbor. It did not take long for the United States to declare war on Japan, and that marks a good time to recap. In 1939, Nazi Germany kicked off World War II by blitzing into Poland, with Hitler and Stalin effectively high-fiving as they split the country in two. Britain and France, finally convinced that Hitler wasn't just a misunderstood artist, declared war. Poland disappeared in weeks, and by 1940, Germany was gobbling up more European countries like they were on a conquest buffet. Norway, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Belgium fell quickly, and France didn't last much longer. The British, led by Winston Churchill, held strong through bombings and the iconic Dunkirk evacuation, where civilians in fishing boats became wartime heroes. Meanwhile, Hitler was busy in North Africa and Eastern Europe, leaving a trail of devastation and human suffering, including the horrific Holocaust. Across the Atlantic, the United States initially stayed neutral, but supported the Allies through the Lend-Lease Act. When Japan bombed Pearl Harbor in December 1941, neutrality officially went out the window, and the U.S. joined the global fight against the Axis powers. There you have it, folks. That is the Axis powers advance nutshell. Thanks for stopping by Nutshelled History. Please go blitzkrieg all over those like and subscribe buttons for me. It really helps me out. See y'all next time on Nutshelled History.